deserted. Guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Verena really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible. That's Verena, right of...
What was meant to happen did happen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but what can I even do? Who's that?
Don't worry, Verena.
They even... Oh, and I'm sure... Of course not!
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Verena, those people seem to be after you.
They are... They're just...
Verena just ran off! Quick, we have to catch... This should be the place, right? Hey, Verena! There's a good hiding spot up...
What?
Hurry, they're almost here!
Fine, I suppose... I'm...
Yep,
what's happening?
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be.
Well, there's no need to...
Yeah, I hope that the people of Poisson... It's true. I once had an... I've tried, but... Oh my... We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter... Give up. Indeed. Fate is but just now. It all... As long as the... Don't worry. Well, that's enough for now. Don't take any...
Come on!
Share. That's impossible. A witness. And if to that...
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my... Now, without further ado, we...
So, this. Do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god of justice. The embodiment of justice.
May I interpret these words as your In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a...
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it. She...
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Verena, what is the...
Shh! It would seem seem that there has been a misunderstanding.
Looking for excuses?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my acceptance of. I will admit, I'm sorry. You are not the only ones to be But now, I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world this time. Applaud and reach. Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of fun.
Woohoo!
Why does it feel like Farina?
All right, then. Who will be
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that... Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question, just how much work did you do to force me onto this?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the...
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes. The people's resent, moreover, according to...
So, you mean... the ones who...
And their goal was to...
That's right.
As the super ultimate version of this, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson was an Archon. My thanks, Farina. Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a...
So, in other words, the earthquake that we...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and you gathered a crowd. Prepared also that as soon as...
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most out... As for you, Traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me you'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor. Oh? It's fine. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Oh, let Paimon see. Isn't this the exclusive interview that she did with us before? So she's already finished it. Wait, then that means this document is a... So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence and let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the How did this... The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably...
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervilette. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses.
True, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an... Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been...
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right?
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine...
Yeah, even though Lady...
Yeah,
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever... See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its... If If you wish to drop the case...
An argument with near impossible odds, huh?
Well, and if I...
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended life.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave?
A curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I said...
Neverett sensed it too, huh?
Lady Farina.
Well, it is true that it...
Well, don't stop. Besides, for centuries, one need only to turn their eyes towards the...
You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you at...
Didn't I make myself clear at the time?
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of while the court is in session, you will prove your... That was no
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty instead of having...
The real Hydro Archon. It is true that I did not, but the Oratrice handed out that... You can't...
She's still throwing out all...
My
If that poses a...
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and thus did I give up...
Isn't that?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a...
Seems like nobody's buying Farina's
Hey, come now, everyone. Please, I'm still the police.
If what the prosecutor...
Did she deceive...
Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not the real... If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can back up their claim to be such, then what...
Wow. That doesn't sound...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the...
Super sorry, Monsieur. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson, including those of some of my close... So, Miss Farina, would you... If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro... But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently. And
Navia from the...
If Lady Farina is indeed just a...
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed.
Well, of course he had to tell her.
She's just...
What's going on?
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina.
believe me now.
Miss Siegewin? If you are present, Miss Siegewin, please come forward and attend to the defendant.
Siegewin?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds.
Please announce the results of your...
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hypervenom. She was experiencing the adverse...
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Farina...
Oh, wait. What did she just...
Well, however, after extensive discussion, we don't want...
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, it's a great thing...
Listen to me! Listen to me, everyone! Please think about it! Also... Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your...
I don't think anything she says at this point will...
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway me until it's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale.
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus: to be punished via the death sentence.
That's actually one of the available sentences?
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice?
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things, so
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Vacher wasn't...
Indeed. But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydra.
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it.
Any mission Father assigns to me will always be...
Is that the first? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me... But has the trial already concluded? Then...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left... Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like you to come here and confirm their contents.
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It ha-
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her? So when you...
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced. However, I'm uncertain.
Okay, let's... The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn into humans. Does that mean that Fontanians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that. But if Oceanids can turn into humans, then perhaps the second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down upon them. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontanians were branded with their original sin. Does this mean that the original sin and the Hydro Archon sin? The third slate shows the Hydro Archon seeking and... That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea. That we didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after... That doesn't sound quite... That doesn't sound quite...
The prophecy from the stone slate, the fort, if we hadn't dealt with... We know from... and this... It's not as simple when not... Perhaps the true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nervalet mentioned, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia, as recorded on the stone slates.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an Oceanid. Hydro Archon was Navia fell into the water inside those... The eruption of the The stone slates Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now! But...
Let's hear them.
Incredible. Linny.
We're not real human.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial. All of them in the shape...
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first that could also...
The Hydro Archon...
And yet, after many hundreds of years...
Yeah, so wouldn't it be trying to show the image in the end? Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many... However, while you were able to decode all the information when we were at the ruin, now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make an up...
What?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of... In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon that... However, even though water as an element is... bodies for her she poured primordial seawater in. But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea... Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
So we were...
That's way too much information. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can...
Alas, your hypothesis regarding a key point of the they have not. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well. You may also recall Navia's experience. Therefore, that the people of Fontaine... Yes.
I think I'm following. In truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold. So now, it seems, we're...
What should we do?
Huh.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the...
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy about the fourth slate. However, I believe that rather... As for the root cause of the catastrophe... This eruption was just a small warning.
That doesn't sound...
It was both dream.
If we're talking about
The truth, the original sin.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why that whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has been greedily and once it is finished.
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids.
Precisely. That whale, therefore, when it left the primordial sea.
We just...
That is correct. Indeed, from the way he looked, he must have been fighting.
That battle maniac. Anyway, now that...
It is too late. It had already even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed.
That's... We've already done... We've come...
Indeed. I'll fight it to the end.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Just as prophecy. Ultimately.
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing.
You are not Farina.
The sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But...
Fusalo.
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stay the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly...
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria for the uninitiated. She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principle. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles. I had to outwit the heavenly principles. Oh, I'm a genius, I know. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I...
So you were also once one of the Oceanids?
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do. Even after becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered. The me you see before you now, she could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. Her strengths were, but in my eyes, Furina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human. Anyway, so all part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive... Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But instead, I suppose now you probably understand.
But Furina is even though she has had...
It has indeed. It's been and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely. Oh, who permitted you to come onto the stage? Now, I understand your admiration. All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Oh, I am Focalor, the eyes of countless Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough.
Control breathing. Boot. Headbutt. Charge. Yeah. Heads up. Yeah. Heads up. It's justice o'clock. Everybody stand back! Let's move! Yeah! It's justice o'clock!
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
Off we go! Headbutt! By my spark, the night burns! It's justice o'clock! Headbutt! Ow, ow, ow! I'm going in! Start the clock! Hero incoming! Yeah! Yeah! Too strong! Headbutt!
Farina. Farina. Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are— Be not nervous. Be not afraid. Wait a moment. You're... Mirror me? Mirror me. The prophecy. Have you heard it? What prophecy? The people... Oh. What? But... I will tell you. But if there were... I suppose this would all... Huh? Don't worry. Play as... That's right. If you can... But... Don't worry. Being a human, you're... Remember. So... To a but I... A trial. The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? To be honest, I still don't know. Perhaps I should first try to act natural. I'm sure you've all heard about how, in truth, as the god Focalor, once again, this, I thought I might...
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpassed...
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest.
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen.
Wait, what's going on? Right. Calm down, Farina. Assertive. Now, I was wondering if some... You may consider... Now then!
So that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were in...
Her personality. It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before. Such a fascinating... Wonderful! After all...
It seems I've turned them around. Best, my dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, we have heard it said that this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. The scales of may law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our... No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they... No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me... No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. There is no trouble in this... So long as I...
Yes! Oh, yeah!
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up for your perusal.
Besides, a magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial. A trial to...
That's true,
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now.
Lady Farina,
No need. All right.
He's...
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific parameters you asked to take note of, I'm afraid things still don't look good.
I see. It's as I thought then. As your god, I did already expect this, but I wanted to see how far your human wisdom would allow you to analyze it. All manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass. Forget it. That's not something you need to worry about right now.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute is also trying to find a way to counter the rising water levels.
Really? Have they found anything?
I'm afraid that they haven't found any effective solution thus far.
Oh, is that so? Well, no wonder. This issue has reached the realm of the gods, after all. Still, their spirit is praiseworthy. The day is finally over. I haven't had a moment to breathe this whole time. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. There are no longer any voices of suspicion. Maybe this is fine. I just need to keep going, and everyone will be saved. Alright, Farina, don't think too hard about this. You need rest. Tomorrow's a new day.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary of the follow-up.
There'll be no need for that. I've seen them already. There's no need to go back over scenes I've witnessed in person before.
Lady Farina, I've waited so long for this chance to see you in this manner.
Indeed, my dear, loyal citizen. This joyous moment is an honor for us both.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me informed should anything come up at the Institute. I don't think I let anything slip today. I must show the people that there is nothing to worry about. I just don't know when these days will end. I feel utterly exhausted. Best to rest early today, too.
Lady Farina, it's like a dream being able to speak with you up close like this. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame Dioteria, almost 20 generations ago.
And what a fine family yours is indeed. It brings me great joy to meet such a faithful believer. a descendant of a line most ardent.
Surely you exaggerate, Lady Farina. My lady?
What is it, good citizen?
Are you crying?
Oh, really now? I didn't even notice. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god whose dominion is the waters, can I?
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your power.
So, in hundreds of years, I never imagined have I reached my limit. No. Perhaps I reached it long ago. Today I didn't even notice my own tears. I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. But would that not destroy all I've done so far? I've conducted so many investigations across the centuries. But there's not even a sliver of hope that we might break the prophecy. All I can do is keep heart. I must maintain this act. It is the only way to save Fontaine. Please, mirror me. You have to succeed.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone, your people are more than willing to share your burden with you.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still choose to confide in someone. Just share it with me. I'm what you'd call a witness.
A witness? Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you never belonged here. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you're just a spectator, aren't you? If that's the case... He's right. I could confide in him, couldn't I? But if things don't play out as expected, the people of Fontaine will be the ones to pay the price. No, Farina. You shouldn't be selfish. But what if it's really alright? Farina, you've worked so hard for so long. Surely it would be okay to put yourself first for once. Just this once. Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom you can confide your frustrations and sorrows? Surely it could not hurt. If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might never come by again. Think about it long and hard. No. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness...
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first deceive yourself. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most tragic fate. It seems that trusting
I believe that I understand how your deception works, but that is only half the truth. How would you build on this foundation?
Ah, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine, yes?
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Linny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along. Am I right?
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understanding of this device still lacks sufficient depth. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device. Oh, you have it. My work, oh, but really, the vast majority had to be.
It was all a part.
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, had it only been used for that purpose. Almost all of it has now been stored within the Oratrice. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by Celestia, and breaking through the institution that is the Seven.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent...
Returning what... In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the... Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And this is the face you make.
All you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked. Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty of essentially the same crime? Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possessed. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human existence itself. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontainians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, justice is the continuation of that existence. Defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on, that should be the justice enthroned over all others. At this point, we, whether it be myself or all other Fontainians, have shouldered the burden of this sin for far too long. Iudex Neuvillette, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign, what verdict shall you pass upon us?
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see now that that was your idea too. At last, I now understand the true purpose behind this position. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to feel as they feel. You are a devious one, Focalors. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Neuvillette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Iudex Neuvillette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened? Has the death sentence been carried out?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a feeling that something huge just happened.
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved, I assume whatever happened was good for us.
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that beast.
But didn't you say just a moment ago that it can't be defeated?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the Primordial Sea from that creature. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice. The root of the calamities befalling Fontaine, the beast that enacts the prophecy. Its name is the all-devouring narwhal. Come with me, traveler. The hour of execution has come.